Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. I'm Gerry. I got Max and David here. We're sort of a somber bunch at the moment. Not a lot of positivity happening. Saturday didn't go so well. Not as bad as it could have been. You know, I remember Arsenal. I remember that one. It was super recent, and it was terrible. This one was, could have been worse, but not good. What stood out for you guys as the most glaring issue for us on Saturday? Max, let's start with you.
I think this game in particular, it was just ultimately so disappointing. You know, after those 2 weeks off, watching other teams competing for the in the FA Cup, should I say, you know, we get whipped away to Dubai, where you think, you know, the players did really hone in on the fitness and the cohesion in terms of how they play. And the game was by not by any means the worst performance that we've seen this season. Like you said, Gerry, you know, we have seen a lot worse. But again, it was the same old story in that the chances just weren't being made. You know, the half chances we weren't taking advantage of. And a chance that stood out for me was in the first half. I think we were the better team, edging them in the first half. There was Omar Niasse was kind of bombing it down one side of the pitch, and Theo Walcott, you know, we know the pace that he's got pace to burn, and he was run down the other side of the pitch, and all it really needed was a good ball across, and Walcott would have slotted home. Mm-hmm. And just Omar just didn't seem to find him, albeit he tested the keeper. But, you know, it just makes you question the calibre of the players. We've seen the impact that Walcott's had, and I was thinking, you know, in any other team in the league, that ball probably gets played square across and he pops it in. And again, it goes back to me first point of the chances. I think it was the main issue. The chances just weren't good enough of what we were making, and we weren't taking advantage of them.
What I have to say will play into that a lot, but let's go to David next.
The big one for me is lack of ambition again. You know, if you remember the preview, I know you guys are quite confident. I wasn't. I did say I didn't fancy us to win.
You know, I was going to give you credit, David, but since you're honking your own horn.
Yeah. Listen, I'm self-involved, and the first thing, I didn't even listen to what Max was saying. I was thinking, make sure you talk about yourself. Make sure you talk about yourself. I always do, Max. I have to get my ideas off someone. I wasn't confident, and it's the complete lack of ambition that we show away from home. It wouldn't surprise me if that was the home fixture. We probably would have won that game quite comfortably, the way we did with Palace. I think it would have been a similar performance to that. But I've grown such a resentment for this group of players, and being totally honest with you, I'm struggling to, you know, you take Coleman out of there, he's been out for so long and he's a real lovable guy, but you know, the rest of them, I can't seem to relate to any of them. I can get on board with the odd good performance. You know, Davis, I thought, done very well, and at least in the first half he looked dangerous. But I'm just resenting these players because they're just letting us down again and again, and the effort doesn't look there. You know, once again, I probably wouldn't include Walcott. I think Walcott's been fantastic since he's come in, and he was still one of our better players on Saturday. But yeah, I have such a resentment for this group of players, and I think, luckily for them, the manager's hopeless and a bit of a clown. I think they're managing to deflect all the blame onto him. Some parts rightly so, because I am not Team Allardyce in any way. I don't like the man, but I just find they're getting away with too much, and they're the ones at the end of the day who are playing football, and they're not working hard enough for the team, and they're just doing everything wrong for me, and I'm just fed up with them. I wish we could get a whole new team in.
So I didn't really think the defensive performance was the worst thing I've seen from us. But I think the number one thing that stood out, which led to our lack of chances, is we looked really sloppy. We looked really careless with the ball. I don't know if I've seen Rooney give the ball away that much in a while. All right? Yeah. It was a lot of grabbing the ball, looking forward, trying to find somebody, giving it to the other team. Repeat over and over again. And so much of that All right. Now, if it had just been one player, I would point to that player and say that's not good enough. But it was like the whole team, and when it's almost everybody doing sloppy things like Pickford trying to clear the ball out and not clearing it high enough and it getting caught and leading to one of their chances.
Yeah.
All right, clattering it into the back of a player. That's really not acceptable. And we know that he's got a good left peg. That should not be happening.
I think, the pressure certainly mounted in that second half, because I think Watford must have been given a really good team talk there, to say that Everton were there for the taking. And I think Watford really amped up their level of pressure in that second half. But we as Evertonians know that with this side, the more pressure that you apply on the back line, the more they fold, the more sloppy the clearances become. So, that second half performance was really disappointing for me.
There for me is where the ambition thing comes in again. This is why I always say to people, as a game goes on, you don't fancy. We laugh about getting 90th minute winners at Anfield, for example, and I say we'll never do that, because if we're drawing, we'll just sit back. And the same thing happened. I thought we actually started at the better side. I thought we looked a little bit dangerous. Davis was seeing a lot of the ball, doing really well. But as you say, as the game progressed, the momentum shifted, and Aldice was going to bring on Schneiderlin at one point, wasn't he? Just before the goal.
Yep.
There's the ambition straight there for me. That is, we're going to just try and hold on again for the draw. There's no ambition to win it, and Watford didn't deserve to win it because they weren't good enough. But they were the ones that were still going for it. And I said those last 20 minutes, they did become the better side, and look, they got the 3 points for it.
Yeah, when I noticed we were still knotted 0-0. So we're still tied there, and I was thinking, who do you bring off the bench right now? Who do you bring off the bench for a little excitement and to actually try to make an impact? And I'm sitting here trying to think about it, and I don't really know the answer, because when I saw them bring in Bolasie, all right, my heart sank a little bit, and I'm somebody, I really want him to do well. I want him to come in there surprise. He lost the ball every single time he touched it. That's worse than normal. It's usually about half the times.
There was one moment in particular I thought, he had, I think it's the same scenario that he seems to have every single game, and he squanders it every single game as well, is where he's one-on-one with the fullback, and he's got the chance to beat him, then bomb on and get a better angle of goal. And, he just decides to float the cross in, and it's an awful cross. It comes off someone's head, and I'm thinking, Nikola Vlasic, someone who could have probably handled that situation a lot better, and he's not even on the bench. And, there's so many questions around this football club at the minute, and we just don't seem to be progressing at all. I
haven't seen Bolasie. I didn't see Bolasie beat a man on Saturday. And that's one of the reasons we brought him in, is because he's powerful and fast. Now, to be fair to him, he's coming off a huge injury, and that's going to affect your speed and quickness. I get that. At some point, he'll probably get back up to speed, but by the time he does, I don't know if he'll still be an option for us. I feel like it's going to take him a year.
I literally wouldn't play Bolasie again this season.
I think I may agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I keep saying is he may have shown glimpses before he got injured, but this is the Bolasie I remember anyway, except obviously he's a worse version. And I understand if the argument, which I don't agree with, but let's just say for the naysayers out there, the argument is he's just come back off this massive injury, he's getting back up to speed. Go back to the basics then. Get yourself a yard, a space, and swing a good ball in. We can all do that. The three of us could probably do that. All right, not at that level, but it's not hard for a player. Martina, for example, he constantly get ridiculed. He started putting in some really good balls. I think he just does the basics. He gets in position where he can cross it and crosses it. That's what Bolasie should be doing. But instead, he's trying these stupid fucking step overs, turns. But he's obviously lost his pace, so he can't get away with them anymore. And when you're watching it, you can see it coming. You're thinking, don't. And the defender is just having a field day, just picking him off every single time. And as Max said, Vlasic, why not? Klassen is actually breaking me heart, because I've seen a lot of his highlights recently, just because I've been looking at some bits to do with him, and he was a giant for Ajax over these last few years. A giant. Ajax are a bit better club than we are. All right, they're in a lesser league, but he could really take this team on if he just gets a position where he's playing week in, week out, and he's given a run, and he's not even getting a look in. Shocking.
Yeah. So that was the thing that was really getting to me, is I was sitting there thinking, wow, the players that are on the field are the ones, that particular lineup is a lineup that I think has a better chance to score a goal than almost anybody else you bring in. You know, DCL is some speed. We potentially could have gone to 2 up front. You know, we could have done that. He swapped Tosun in, and I thought Tosun actually played well for what he was expected to do. Held the ball up well, passed well. He's a good passer. You know, he's strong. I got to be honest. I think every single one of us, you know, got a little chub when you saw Tosun bump Delafeu off the ball. That was kind of great. But I didn't want to see Delafeu get hurt. I hated that he got hurt after it. That's not cool. But to see him just, you know, use a little muscle, that's good. You know, but that particular, I didn't think immediately that's the change that we need to score a goal. I thought almost, okay, well, right now this is the best opportunity we have, or we switch formation and bring in DCL.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do that because we rarely switch formation in game.
Exactly. It's the 2 up front debate, isn't it? I think Everton have had this debate for God knows how long, over numerous different managers. You know, I can't really recall the last time that we felt that was going to be there every 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. You know, you'd see it on the team sheet. So, and like you say, that formation, that squad, you know, we've all probably agree that is the team with the best chance of getting a result, given the way the season's gone. We've kind of found a team that can get us somewhere, and it's just so hard because the consistency isn't there, and that is the biggest issue.
Guys, what would you say stood out for you in a positive way? Because it was not the worst game in the world. David, you mentioned Davies' play. That was one of my main positives from that game. I thought he was all right.
I thought Davies, had a good first half. He looked very dangerous. Again, you know, he's proven why he should be in the side. And Walcott, again, I think Walcott looks a level above everyone we've got at the moment. You know, he's been a fantastic signing, and he's definitely one for the coming seasons when hopefully things kind of get back on track. I'll be honest, maybe another positive is that we didn't get outplayed, but, you know, it was Watford. We shouldn't be getting outplayed anyway, and I'm really struggling for positives, and just utter disappointment at that game.
Yeah. Max, any positives at all?
I echo that, really. It's just the fact that, you know, the 2-week layoff, and the fact that we had a training camp in Dubai where you'd expect the areas of weakness in our game, the lack of chances would really be addressed, and they'd be drilled on creating chances in different scenarios. And, you know, we're admitting, you know, it was far from the worst performance that we've seen, but after time off like that, and after the level of detail you'd expect to be put in at a training camp, it just didn't look like that was what they did over the 2 weeks off, really. That's
one of them, isn't it? It's like, is saying it's not one of the worst performances we've seen this year even a compliment, because it's probably a testament to how shit we've been, really, that we come away and think, I suppose it wasn't the worst we've played, but we hated it still, didn't we? It was a painful watch, and we didn't do nearly enough in front of goal.
You know,
it could go down pretty quick. But
as sloppy as we looked, to me, that reminded me of an early season game. You know, like your chemistry's not there. You haven't played against anybody for a while. You don't have that cutting edge. The incision is not there. And that, I feel like, may be something that comes from going off on a trip and competing against only each other and not competing in one of those hard games. We may have been better served to stay home and maybe play some behind closed doors friendlies with some other teams. You know?
Yeah. Well, they all want Aldi, didn't they? They all wanted to update the fucking Instagrams. Like, seen Balafi doing it today, Monday motivation. He's like this in the gym, and he's saying like surround yourself with people who are going to take you forward. And I think just get off Instagram, shut up, and start putting your performances out there. Then you can do all this shit. They're all there liking each other's pictures and all putting stuff on there. And I'm just no, fuck that, and just get back to basics and start. Instead of having their pride on your social networking pages, I've read pride in your performances. No. If that was me, I would be like, this is embarrassing getting beat by teams like Watford, and we're meant to be one of these better sides. Let's go out there and prove it. But we've just got a bunch of cowards at the moment.
I don't think Watford's the least talented team. I think they do have some talent there. I think with the new manager, I think he's still trying to put a system in place. I think if Sam's been here this long, we should have a system in place. We should have been a more settled team, imposing a system on them, but instead it looked like we were there to react to what they were going to do. You know?
Certainly see him like that in the second half, definitely, and I agree with that. Watford are a talented side. We saw that. I mean, granted, we were shit in that home game, but you saw how they took us apart in that first half of Goodison. But the investment that we've had, the pressure that the players should be under. That like me and Dave just discussed then, they don't seem like they even know that they're under the pressure and the expectations of playing for Everton Football Club. Yeah. And as a fan, that's sinisterly worrying that the players don't seem to understand the level of pressure that they should be under.
Really quick, because we live in a world of blame, who's at fault for the goal?
The defence. I think the defensive line was just far too deep. I think it was, it was sat back far too deep, and like I said earlier, the Watford amped up the pressure, and we, the further back we drop, the closer they get in on goal, and it took a turn and just a leather of a shot. If it was a few yards back, that would have went over the bar. But the fact that we were just so deep, of course, rockets into the roof of the net. So. The defensive line.
You're blaming that whole D line? All right.
I don't know. I'm blaming, to be honest. I think that the actual finish itself wasn't bad. I thought it was good touch and good finish.
Good finish.
Save it, but I think everything before that was just poor. We always just seemed to be like a yard away. We just didn't seem to have, as the game went on, we lost a bit of a bite, I think, and it was showing. And I think that's, if you look back on that goal, that really accumulated a lot of that.
Yeah, I see a lot of people blaming Cuco Martina.
Obviously.
Yeah. I will say, he was on Okaka, who got the cross off. I saw Ashley Williams on Deeney's back. Deeney played a smart first touch backwards. You know what I mean? It was backwards and it was away from Williams. Williams didn't react as quickly as he could have, though, in order to actually get a foot on it. He was not close. He was not far from it. He did eventually. He didn't just let him shoot it, but initially, the first time I saw it, I was blaming Williams for it.
Typically, a younger player would react quicker. So, where's Mason Holgate when you need him?
I don't know, guys. I think it was a situation where I blame more than one player for that situation. I'm not pointing one finger. And so really quickly, last thing, what's one thing you would have changed in order to get a result in that one? I've got one little weird thing that I'm not sure somebody would have said, but I'll just say it first. I think something that would have given us an additional dimension offensively, although I thought Cuco Martina was okay, I would sub Garbutt in for him to give us an attack up that left side. That would be a dimension they wouldn't have expected, and we actually would have had an attack, and he would have been whipping balls in. And somebody needs to be whipping balls to Tosun because that's the main way he's going to score goals.
I would have said the defensive line because you're coming up against Troy Deeney, not the quickest, and typically if you play a higher defensive line, the more likely it is that you're going to be able to play your football further up the pitch when you do have the ball, and I think that would have certainly put us in a better position in that second half when the confidence and the energy levels were dropping. At least we would have been a bit better off positionally So I think I'd change that.
David?
I don't think a tactical alteration's really required. I think every time we seem to look at these teams when they come out an hour before kick-off, you think, no, on paper it's not a bad side, but just the personnel aren't doing enough for me. So I think the personnel needs to do more. There's no reason why that team who started on paper shouldn't have won that on Saturday. But
Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
I think Max would agree with that too. You know, I think it proved that in the first half.
yeah.
You know, they looked strong in the first half. Stronger. I'm not going to say they looked overwhelmingly strong. Like I said, Watford had most of the possession, but we had some good chances.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for our Watford match reaction. I know we have some Watford supporters that watch this show as well. So, yeah, chime in. People like Hornet Gamer. We'll hear from you. That's cool. Yeah, we're not feeling great after this one, though. If on a different note, if you're liking our videos, we're actually this close to 500, all right? We are like an inch away from 500 subs. So if you want to do us a solid and sub, that we'd appreciate it, all right? Leave a like, leave a comment, all that hot stuff. Check out Max's stuff on the Toffee Blues website. Check out David's stuff, which is also on the Toffee Blues website and on the Sportsman. I believe that's all. We have more things to do. So, bye.